It is currently about 9:15 p.m. Thursday, February 16, 2023. And I just want to take a few minutes and talk about a recent experience that kind of highlights an issue that I have currently with bird photography. On February 9th, I saw a yellow-bellied sapsucker on a tree on my front yard. And I was excited because this was only the second one I've ever seen. And so I quickly ran and grabbed my camera and I shot some pictures of it. Now, the bird actually stuck around for a while, a surprisingly long time. Now, I probably only spent around 5 minutes with it, but that's like a long time for a woodpecker. Usually, I might have eyes on a woodpecker for maybe 30 seconds before they're done and off, right? This one stuck around, and even though like pedestrians and cars came by and it would fly away, it came back. So it actually spent a decent amount of time, on that tree. But I probably only spent about 5 minutes with it at most, photographing. So anyway, can you guess how many pictures I took in those, say, 5 minutes that I had with the bird? I took 102 pictures. This is the problem with bird photography, is that you can end up generating just a crap ton of photos. And, if you're not really used to doing bird photography, but you might have seen videos from like Mark Smith or, Tony and Chelsea Northrup or Stefano Irinero or like Dwayne Patton. If you've watched their videos, you could be sort of lulled into this impression that you just go click and then bam, you get a great picture of an osprey, just about to hit the water. But yeah, no, in reality, it's not like that at all. I can't claim to know what Mark Smith's workflow is like, but my guess is that every time he goes out to take pictures, he probably comes home with literally thousands of photos. So here, I'm not a pro like Mark Smith, but I spent 5 minutes with a bird and I came away with 102 photos. The other thing to bear in mind is that I shot this completely in RAW. So I had 102 RAW photos. So just many gigabytes worth of files that I now have to deal with after seeing this one bird. And if you look through these photos, they all look very, very similar. And so it becomes very difficult for me to choose which ones to keep and which ones to delete. That's my big problem right now in bird photography workflow, is how do you cull the photos, right? Now, for a professional, they probably have seen 100 yellow-bellied sapsuckers and photographed them, hundreds of times, and they're probably not that interested in adding more photos of the bird, right? Except if it's an interesting composition or it's a particularly nice pose or something like that, right? And so they may be able to come away from a session and look at their photos and be like, yeah, none of these are new compared to what I've done before, and just delete the whole bunch. But like for me, I'm extremely amateur. That's not where I'm at. This is the second time I've seen this bird, so literally I'm not looking for composition. I just want to get a sharp shot of this bird. And so when you look at the photos, I don't know, there's just like 102 photos now that I had to go through and choose which ones to keep and which ones to delete based on sharpness, not based on composition. They're all very similar anyway. So that's hard because it takes a long time to look through 102 photos, and with each one of them, I have to like zoom in and check for focus, which takes a long time. And some of them are very obviously out of focus. Some of them may be blurry because of motion blur, but some of them are like I have to decide between whether or not they're in focus enough versus whether they're in critical focus, and that's much more difficult. And the thing is, like, I also have to like look at a burst, maybe a burst of 5 photos, and choose the one in that burst that is the sharpest. So I'm like going back and forth through those 5 photos, trying to see which one was the sharpest. I don't know. All of this takes so long. This is a major problem in my workflow right now. I take lots and lots of pictures, um, and then I just don't know what to do with them afterwards. Yeah, so after all of this, after spending all the time going through these 102 photos of this yellow-bellied sapsucker, my guess is I'll probably only come away with maybe 3 or 4 photos that are worth keeping, that I will actually edit and keep. Um, I haven't done it yet, clearly, but yeah, that's my guess. But I'll probably have spent hours doing that. Anyway, I'm certainly open to suggestions. If anybody wants to enlighten me on how best to address this workflow issue, I'm all ears. All right, I'll see you in the next one.